Sunday. Good morning, everyone. So I thought we'd do something a little bit different this week. I thought we'd do a sequel to the Day in the Life video that I did ages ago, maybe a year or two ago now. So I'll leave that first one link in the description below. But so let's just say this is how I would start my morning. Let's do a day if I'm working at the ambulance, and then next week we'll do a day if I'm teaching at some schools. So let's say I'm working at the ambulance. I generally do afternoons, so I'd wake up, maybe it would be about 7. I'd make some oats with some cinnamon and some sultanas, and then maybe Jess wouldn't normally be up this hour playing Minecraft, but it is the weekend, so you know. So anyway, we'll be working in the afternoon, so we have the morning free. So what we would do is I'd be doing 2 things. I'd be filming, 3 things actually: filming, editing, and writing. So this is the filming part, right? So everything's set up. As you can see, this is a day in the life, so I'm not going to try and hide the mess and the clutter, because that's normal life. You know, I've been really loving my old Reynolds handmade amp that was handmade for me. That's amazing. That needs some more demos, definitely. But yeah, so I would basically set up the room, set up the lights. Yeah, it's so hot in here, and I would start filming. So if you guys watch the Monday Minute that's going to come out in a few weeks, or the thank you video to Rachel, this was the setup, and I filmed this just then. I just finished. Okay, let's check out the next part. So the next part of this video would be me, literally just like this, swapping cameras onto the Canon, the old Canon 60D. Still looks good, still very happy. I have been thinking for ages about switching up to a 4K video camera, like the Panasonic GH4, or the LX100, or the Sony RX4, the new one. That looks awesome. But the problem is, they're very expensive, and I don't have a monitor. I have a computer that's capable of editing the 4K, but I don't have monitors capable of viewing it. The TV can, but I can't edit on the TV, so it's just, 4K is just not quite there. Definitely in a couple of years, definitely. But anyway, so this would be how I would set up, sort of had breakfast, come in here, set up to record. I'd record a couple of videos, and then after that, I'd punch over to the computer, change everything around, and I'd start editing. So editing videos doesn't take too long anymore. Once you've been doing it a little while, can be quite quick and snappy, just remembering the cuts, and you can almost not even watch parts of it. You can just see from the audio, okay, yep, talking, no, I've made a mistake there, huge gap. Sometimes I'll clap so I can see a spike, so I know when I've made a mistake, and I can cut out the last bit without even playing it. So it can get very, very quick, but this is what we will be doing the morning of ambulance dispatching. I'd set up, do some videos, do some video editing, at the moment do some writing, and then let's get to the bit that we all want to see, what it's like to be an ambulance dispatcher, at least what my experience is, okay? Now, heads up, this is a bit of a disclaimer. I don't have a medical background. I'm an ambulance dispatcher or controller. So what that means is I sit sort of, you know, in the building, and there's a call center. They answer all the calls, and they put in all the bookings from the different hospitals. Now, generally, we're not doing sort of life-threatening transfers. We're doing transfers maybe hospital to hospital, maybe patients come from home for an appointment and back. Not really life-threatening stuff. And so it's sort of my job to view all the jobs, and then to look at how many resources or available cars, what the cars are able to do, where they are, when they need lunch, when they're starting and finishing, that sort of stuff, and then combine the resources with the work and make sure that they get done during the day. That's sort of the main aspect of my job, and the next aspect is sort of doing the same, but looking into the future and planning the next day. But I'll show you what it's a little bit of what it's like in this day of a life of. Everyone, so let's just pretend for a second that I'm at my other job. I couldn't film there for obviously legal reasons, right? If any part of my shirt is blurred, it's just to hide the logos. Can't show you guys any of that, but let's just imagine I've just spent the day video editing, writing, and now it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and my shift is from 4 till midnight. So I'm over at the ambulance. Now, this is my desk. This is not at the ambulance desk, but I'll try and give you a little bit of a rundown. So we've got we've got one phone, right? So just my home phone, my house phone. I don't have another house phone, but in the office there is 2 phones that I look after. So let's say the other one is my mobile, right? So let's put that there. That's the second phone. And then there's also a walkie-talkie, or like a radio system. I don't actually have a walkie-talkie. I have a Canon lens. Let's pretend that is the walkie-talkie. So that's my way of communicating directly with all of the crews. So, you know, all of the ambulances, right? So I'll have 2 screens work. Now you can't really see that. Hopefully I can try and sort of focus in there for you guys. The joys of doing everything One-man band. Right, so on one screen we have Google Maps. So Google Maps is fantastic because it does update depending, on what sort of time, so I can see how the traffic's doing. And so I'll be looking, there's a lot of transfers that we do all the time that I sort of know, the different times for. I'm good, good with that. But there's some maybe transfers that we don't do a lot, so I need to use Google Maps. It's great just to work out different sort of times and rough estimations. Of course, like when the car goes to the hospital to pick up a patient, there's going to be loading times and there's going to be some delays, and you just sort of factor those things in. But for general travel time, this definitely helps. And then on the other screen, zooming back in, on the other screen here, on this screen, if you can see, cool, great. On this screen, it's all about sort of what jobs we've got. So probably very hard to see, but I've just written fake street to home, meaning like an appointment, fake hospital to fake hospital, right? So they're just the hospital transfers. So I've got all these different jobs, right? And let's say I've got maybe 5 cars. So the plan is that I need to assign the 5 different cars, work out who can do the different jobs depending on, the level of expertise required for the different jobs. Maybe some patients need some heart monitoring, maybe the patients need oxygen, maybe they need something more. But so you work out all of that, then you work out the different time frames, who's covering, because we do, the whole of the eastern and southern, northern and western area. So pretty much like a lot of Victoria, definitely a lot of Melbourne. And then we do have country jobs that we send crews, 3-4 hours away as well. So just sort of working out all of this stuff constantly. And so while that's going, if you can imagine, right, let's say we get a job, and a lot of the new jobs, we might have a couple hours to get there, right? So we get a new job and we start planning around that. It's not like we get a job and we have to be there in half an hour. It doesn't really work that way. So with we have maybe a couple hours to get there, right? So, a lot of the time what it'll be is it'll literally be me pick up the phone and just dealing with hospitals a lot of the time. And no joke, this is how I spend so much of my time. The phone will ring, pick it up, blah, 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 hello. And then they say, okay, we've got this patient. And I go, yes, I've just seen the booking that you've made. And they go, okay, so when can you be here? And I say, all right, well, we can be here at exactly, and they say, okay, when can you be here? And I say, all right, we can be here at exactly this time. Let's say 2 hours from now. Okay, cool, everyone's happy. Put the phone down, right? Hi. Oh, yep, no, I spoke to you, 10 minutes before. Same patient? Yeah, it's still going to be the same time. Okay, yep. Back to work, everything's going fine. Oh, yep, you spoke to a guy, Matt. No, it was Pat. Yep, no, I was the one you spoke to just before. Yep, no, it's still going to be the same time I gave you those other phone calls. Back to work, planning, looking at tomorrow's work. Hi there, yep. Okay, so you're at that hospital. Oh, yep, okay, no, I haven't spoken to you today. You're someone new, yep. No, so I've already given you guys a time of this patient several times now. Oh, you've just started your shift and no one told you and handed over. Okay, yep. Yep, no, it's still that same time. Be there soon, sort of next, coming up, okay. As you can see, it gets very, very frustrating, and the patients are constantly asking the nurses, so it's their system as well. It's not just them being annoying, but that's just what we deal with, and all the time you're trying to work out this, you're trying to plan for the next day, maybe you've got shifts that you need to cover, country work that's coming in, pretty hectic, and I can't sort of simulate all the phones going off at once, but a lot of the shift, there's 2 phones ringing, and there's a crew sort of answering me on the walkie-talkie, then I've got to sort of let them know the radio, where to go and what to do, and it's stressful. What I love about it, though, is it's really that I'm doing logistics. That's the biggest part of the job. I'm doing logistics, and it's really cool to think that I'm working with a team. And my goal is purely just to organize time frames, basically, and to make sure everyone starts their shift on time, comes home and finishes on time, and all the patients, get to where they need to go. So it's a lot of fun. And although I have, over 60 students a week now, this is something that's completely different. It's something I do in the afternoons. And on the weekends when the schools are closed. But it's a lot of fun. And, at the end of the shift at midnight, I think, you know what?
I've really worked for today. I've done a good job. I've made sure that everyone got home on time. And I really, really like it. So that's my weekend and after hours jobs. Some days I might do both teaching and ambulance, but a lot of the days it's just maybe one or the other. Definitely weekends it's more ambulance. But this is what I do. If you ever wanted an insight into what I do, hope you guys enjoyed this week's Day in the Life. Next one will be very, very interesting. I might not do it next week. I'll plan. It'll be Day in the Life teaching at a primary school. And I'll show you some things that you get from primary school kids all the time. Otherwise, guys, I hope you've had a great week. See you again. Bye.